Welcome back to the mess. I suppose you could say this is episode 4 of the story of my model railway, but who's counting? There'll be a lot more episodes, so I ain't bothering with numbers. I thought this week I'd start by just showing you what sort of dilemma faces a lot of modellers. You gather equipment together. Now I've got a lot of second-hand rail here, which I was going to build the layout with, but I realised very early on that if I'm operating a lot of modern DCC controlled stuff, these models come in very expensive, and they're a lot more to scale, if you like, fine scale, than some of the older locos, and they won't operate even on DCC over this older track. So, at great personal expense, I've got a box of Pico, ST100 Cetrac, plus a pack of extra traits there. So the main sort of DCC track is going to be probably the outer of what I hope will be a 2-track layout. And all these boxes contain bits and pieces, buildings and goodness knows what have you, and here's some platform bits there. Now I'm faced with the same dilemma as I'm sure a lot of people are. You try and calculate what size of baseboards you're going to need for your layout, and when it arrives and it's all nice and blank, there's nothing on it, you think, oh, I've got plenty of room here, and then you suddenly put a bit of test track down like this. I put a couple of bits of test track down because I saw one layout where instead of coming round in a swinging curve, they brought it across straight like this and then put a final curve in. I suppose if you've got these fine scale locos running, it helps to minimise the risk of derailment. But let me show you something. If the outer track comes straight and fills in this gap like here and starts its final curve here, you come round and finish there. However, where am I? I've got my finger somewhere. Where's my finger? There it is, there. But on the other line, you don't start the straight. Let's move the flying fickle finger of fate along. You don't get to start on the straight until here. So you're losing a foot of straight. And I suppose I fell into that trap because I felt I wanted to run 5-car trains, and even on a big baseboard like this, which is something like 6.5 feet by 4 nearly, it's not going to be long enough to have a platform that will accommodate 5 cars unless I get some more curve bits, and I can't quite make up my mind yet whether to do that. What I've got to do basically is to literally clear everything off the table and then use the old track to put down a couple of bits of track, a couple of loops, and just see how much room I have got, where I can build my station. Do I build it like at an angle across here? Because I could put another curve on the end of that bit, and then the straight would go over there like that to another curve at the other end. But then would I lose a lot of space? And I don't think I'd get a double track layout in that way. So I think it's going to have to be just a big loop right round the outside. And if I haven't got enough, I've got one piece of curved platform, I might have to get some more pieces of curved platform. We'll see how it goes anyway. But I just thought I'd let you know the kind of thoughts that have to go through your mind. I started to get my bits and pieces of tools together, some modelling equipment there, magnifying glass for fine work, and some various drills and bits and pieces. I thought it was important to get all that together before I start the layout. However, what I think most of you are probably interested in is, what else has he got to unbox? And Mark's Adventures asked me, have you got any steam locos on your layout? And of course, because it's going to be set in British Railways 1950s, very early 60s era. Yes, I have got steam. And what I'm going to show this week is something I picked up second hand, but again at a good price and virtually brand new, and saving well over £120 on Bachmann's own price. It's a GWR designed Class 94 pannier. Now this little locomotive here, let me glasses on. 9487, I think that says there. I haven't got the right glasses on. I do know this was built in 1952, which makes it was born for real the same year that I was, so quite an appropriate number to have. The funny thing about this class of tank is only a few were built by the Great Western Railway, because they didn't start building them until 1947, and then it became British Railways. And the Great Western had already by that time farmed out contracts to various manufacturers to build some of these locomotives. This particular one was built by the one that built most of them. I think they built well over 100 of them, Robert Stevenson and Hawthorne. Generation going back to Robert Stevenson himself. This particular tank was designed by Hawksworth, and he took the long boiler from one of Collett's goods locos and surrounded it with pannier tanks. Basically there's two types of tank locomotive that we normally look at on the Great Western. One is the saddle tank, where you've got a rounded body over the top of the boiler, and that is where the water tank is. They call that a saddle tank. And this particular one, which is a pannier tank, and you see the water tanks are either side like panniers, hence its name. These ones were very powerful locomotives, but the trouble is the weight was so heavy they had quite a restricted route availability. But you would find them in the coalfields in the valleys of South Wales, moving heavy freights about, and then banking at the Lickey Incline. And in their latter days they were the shunting locomotives at places like Paddington, moving the empty carriage stock here and there. Anyway, enough of this rubbish. You want to see what's in the box, don't you? So let's have a look. Right, here we are. The design of these tank engines actually goes right the way back to 1872. There's not an awful lot of difference in the principle of them. It's just that different engineers on the Great Western Railway produced different designs, and to go with varying degrees of efficiency. The predecessors of Hawksworth were Collett and Geoffrey Jackson Churchwood, all of whom left their mark on the GWR. How the hell do I get this over? Oh, there it is, there it is. There we are, look. I think you can see that, yep. And here is the locomotive. You see the long boiler, which makes this a longer tank locomotive than most of them, and this is where all the weight is, and this is where all the power is. The boiler shape, you can see it's a tapered boiler, which the Great Western was noted for, but you can see how long it is, and this was the same, as I said, the same boiler that came off one of Collett's goods locos, but that was a tender loco, so you had weight distributed. Which reminds me of the old joke, and let's get it out the way before anybody else said anything. Why can't mainline steam engines sit down? Answer, because they've got a tender behind. There, it's gone, it's done, dad joke over, and we can proceed with it. But here's the number, you see, 9487. Can I get it close enough? Not in focus, no. 9487, built in 1952, just the same as me, except I wasn't built, somehow or other I arrived. The level of detail is very good. You've got once I can find it. Now you've got the vacuum pipes and everything on there, and there are a number of features on this loco, and I'll have a look at it and then I'll come back and show you some of those features once I've worked out how to use them. Right, so let's put her through her paces, shall we? And here she comes. Right. There, not bad, is it? So, what else can we do? Let's go the other way, shall we? Now we're going to have to position this carefully because there's a feature I'd like you to see whether, and I don't really want to do it manually, but she's moving along nice and slowly, and I think if I stop her there, I'll have a quick check in the old what's name. Oh yes, I think you might be able to see that. So let's have a go, shall we? You can see firebox is open. Shovel a bit of coal on. Firebox closed. And there we are. Obviously when I get more time and I've finally got a circuit, I'll be able to give these engines more speed and a lot more run for their money. But I hope you enjoyed looking at that, and we'll see you next time. Wonder what I'm going to get up to then.